Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now for this one. What? Did you think I forgot? Okay, so let's head on over here to this one. I have painstakingly gone over my interpretation video and added all of the artifacts back into the ruins here. And why? Well, because we're going to rebuild it the way it probably looked like when it was in use. Yep, a lot of you had guessed that's what was going to happen, and a lot of you requested it, so that's what we're going to do. So, just like with this one over here, we're actually going to start with this building here, and I'm going to kind of go over what it is exactly I'm doing, and then we'll just do a time lapse for the rest of this stuff, and I might talk about, sort of what we're doing with the rest of these too. However, when we get to the tower and locust B here, things are going to go a little different, and I'll tell you why once we get to that. So, let's start with this one, and let me show you what I have planned. So in order to figure out how these things looked back when they were in use, we got to do basically the opposite of what we did over, whoops. Oh no, there we go, over there. So over there, what we did is we took the ruins and brought them down. And these we're going to be bringing up. So basically what we got going on here with these ruins is that these ruins are sort of the halfway in between completely disintegrated like that, or I should say completely broken down like that, and completely rebuilt like what this one's going to be. So yeah, that's basically what we're going to do. It should go by pretty quick. There's not much in the way of interpretation that I'm going to do. If I have enough time towards the end, I will add some very light I guess interiors to this, but let me show you sort of what I'm thinking. So with, where'd the other one go? Oh, there's the other one. See, look, I looked right past it. It blends in so well. So with this one, I talked about how the mud brick would sort of dissolve and spread out. Well, that's kind of what's going on here too. The mud brick would have dissolved and flowed down, but it's hard to tell what was where. So it's possible that the mud brick here just melted, right? Let me get in here. Okay. And same with like this chunk here. It could have melted and flowed this way. There could have been like this right here, this roof. This edge here could have been what this is. Oh, I guess not really. Yeah, so it's hard to tell what's going on with the mud brick. The mud brick has probably disintegrated in some areas and probably not in others. So generally speaking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the structure as a whole, bring things up, and sort of replicate on both sides or multiple sides. So if you look, like if I look straight down, you can see that the purple here will need to come up. But there's also purple missing, probably because it flowed somewhere else or just disintegrated, or possibly even looted for building materials somewhere else. Same with the red, though the red is pretty much just in that band, isn't it? Yeah, it's just a band. Yeah, also we have these cavities here that I figured was going to be wood, and I'm not really sure what's going on there. So let me just do sort of what I think is going on with this thing, and then we'll get, I'll just come back and we'll talk about it. All right? So let's do this. Okay, so that's the basic, I guess you would call it, outer structure done. So what I did is I've got the purple roof and then the birch around the outside. Oh man, it's hard to do it in this angle. There we go. Birch around the outside, and then of course the red stripe. Now I did the birch because there was a cavity along this way and it was probably something organic. I am going to strip that because that looks absolutely terrible. And I'm sure stripped will look absolutely terrible too. But I might change the wood. I don't know. We'll see. This section I left open because of, well, a couple sections. So all of the gaps are too tall at least. And then you've got this window here that's too tall with the iron bars in it. So around here, you don't have the too tall. Instead, what you have is you have some of these things. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that with the presence of this stained glass here, that more than likely this was a window. And because there are no iron bars here or here, I'm going to assume that those are windows as well with the stained glass. Another thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you this on camera because I did it in a couple other areas, is these. These I'm going to replace with that mud brick. And the reason I'm going to do that is simply because of the design of the villages now in the current iteration of Minecraft. The game developers, when they design these buildings, at least the village buildings, don't really have texturing going on. At least not in the sort of standard village buildings. Now you see some texturing when it comes to things like, well, like the ruins like this, like the ancient city, and a couple of the nether structures, but those are all supposed to be well-worn buildings, either ruins in themselves or just worn, just, you know, falling apart. Whereas all the buildings that are currently being lived in don't have any texturing. It's just, you know, solid stuff. So I'm just going to replace all of these with the mud brick because that's probably what it would have looked like had the game developers done that. They don't really do texturing or gradients or anything, any of the other stuff that, you know, all the cool Minecraft kids are doing nowadays. Yes, I said that way particularly so it sounded funny, and you're not laughing. That's okay. All right, so this, I'll see how the glass looks in this. More than likely it's going to look terrible because it has nothing to join to on that side, and I'll probably fill that in. But yeah, this I'm going to do as a window as well, which will probably look terrible. That candle being there, I don't know, man, it was probably sitting on that shelf. Same thing with this, the blue dye. This is probably the remnants of a pane glass, or yeah, glass pane, stained glass. Geez, wow, my mouth isn't working. Stained glass pane probably went there as well. So we're gonna go ahead and break that. Slap one of these guys. Oh, whoops. Birch here, and then we'll do that. Well, that doesn't look too bad. It's gonna look terrible right here, but yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Maybe I'll put one here and then I'll leave that candle. I don't know. We'll see how it looks. I'll try to make it look aesthetically pleasing, but you know, it might not end up being that way. I might even also put a shelf right here where the candle can sit, and then this would be the stained glass. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Anyways, we're gonna come back when I finish this. So here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna strip this birch, and it's probably gonna look terrible, and then I'm gonna want to change it. So let's see what stripped oak looks like, and what stripped spruce looks like with this color palette. I don't know. Let's see how bad this looks. Oh, actually, wow, the birch actually looks pretty good. It's just the right amount of contrast. Yeah, okay, well, in that case, so I have the shelf here. Let's replace it with that. There we go. Yeah, there's the candle. Okay. And because that candle's there, let's go ahead and put a trapdoor there. Let's get that candle. There we go. What's up here? All right. Yeah. Okay. So generally speaking, I think that's it. Let me get... Yeah. Let's do... Okay. And we'll do birch doors. Because why not? Oh. Look at that. That looks awfully flat. Let's try this again. Let's do them here. Oh, much better. It's less flat then. So yeah, there you go. There is the first building done. Let's stick, bam, that right there. And that right there. Yeah, there we go. So there you have it. The first building is done. Locus, oh God, I don't remember. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Locus H, I think. And I might do a little bit of the interior here. So we have, what do we have? We've got that, and that. So there's probably a pot sitting somewhere up high, maybe? Yeah, not really sure. Okay. Whoa. 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 Okay, anyways. So this is done. So I'll take you through it real quick, and then we'll do the time lapse for the rest of the buildings. So here we have the armorers. So I've got some shelves in here with the pot, all three sherds. Well, the back side is the one that was up here, the sheath. The dog one that was over here is on that side, and the heart one over here, which was on that side. Now, it's possible that that was somewhere else, maybe hanging from the ceiling and had some of the yellow dye in it, and that's where that yellow dye came from. I'm not really sure, though. So I did not include the yellow dye. Oops. There we go. I did not include the yellow dye in this anywhere. I also replaced these windows with regular blue stained glass panes because there was the blue dye on the floor over here. So yeah, so this is it. Makes a lot of sense. You can have somebody working on armor here. You got stuff smelting in either that blast furnace or this one. You got this, which was I was told that this is what they used to use instead of the anvil for the early game, or for the early armorers stations, way back in the day before the anvil. So yeah, so this is what I'm thinking it would look like. I'm pretty happy with this. So let's go ahead and close that, and we'll move on to the rest. So just like with that one over there, we're going to do the rest of these all in time lapse, and then at the end I will walk through and talk about them. So anyways, here we go. Now, this building was pretty easy when it comes to the roof, but the floor kind of threw me for a loop simply because it has these weird crisscross patterns all the way down. I wasn't really sure what to do with it, so I kind of left it. This one was pretty easy. I just sort of completed it. Everything was pretty much there, or at least mirrored in some way, and I just finished. Yeah, nothing too crazy with this one. Oh, I do light the fire, for ambiance. Now this one has the weird animal pen thing going on here with the cauldron full of water. I just sort of leaned into that. Obviously, I brought the roof back up and sort of filled things in, put the windows in where it needed to go, and then I pretty much just took all of the artifacts, or most of the artifacts that were in there, and put them up on the wall in item frames. I was going to put them on a shelf, as you see here, but it didn't really look all that good. So, yeah. This building was really hard to get a good shot of. The tower's on one end, and it's surrounded by other buildings. So the camera angles with this whole thing are a little weird. But basically, I just cleared out the inside, put the roof back up, and just sort of did some general cleaning. Not much to say here, it's a bunch of the same old stuff. Bring the roof up, clean some stuff out. I did import the coarse dirt, just like in the other building, and yeah, it was done. And now, the road. So the road is by far the biggest transformation out of all of them and sort of gives the whole thing a very cohesive look. I start by putting the birch logs inside the holes that go down the middle of the road. On the top of those, I do a crossbeam all the way across. Now the holes don't exactly line up, so there is a little bit of a zigzag going on here, but basically I build the frame and I put in side poles coming up with cross beams going down as well. And eventually what you get is this. The top has a bit of a peak to it, and I've filled in the sides with some solid wool blocks. But I don't really like the way that it looks. So, in standard Daskalos fashion, I tear some of it down. And what you end up with is, well, this. As you can see, I am putting carpet along the top rather than full wool blocks. I think it looks significantly better. And I leave the top of the whole thing just flat rather than peaked. That's mostly just because, well, you can't do peaked carpet. But I think it looks great. For these stalls, it was pretty straightforward. I used fences to bring up the sides as sort of like a post, and then I used carpet along the top as sort of sun cover, and some banners along the side. Pretty straightforward, just your standard booths. Okay, so the ruins are done being rebuilt, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy the world so that I can do two versions of the tower and Locust B there. And basically, well, you know what? Tell you what, I'll copy the world and I'll see you back here in a few seconds.
A few minutes later.
Okay, so I am now in a copied world. You can see the museum over there. chicken. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this tower and build it like how it should be. And we're going to assume that this is its own building. And then in the other world, I'm going to tell you about what we're going to do with this chunk and the tower, just to give you two different options. So, well, let me get into it. This one is going to be a little different. You see, I think this section here, this locus B, is actually the top part of this tower. Mostly because the blocks are the same type, the same color, and not a lot of the buildings share the exact same color of blocks. I mean, they might share one, but they don't share them all. Also, this diagonal sort of meets up pretty well with the diagonal on the other side, and the height and everything sort of matches up. So what I'm going to do with this world is I'm going to take this and basically flip it upside down and put it up on the top there. And then we'll go over the whole little village and sort of see what's going on. What is with this chicken? So weird. All right, so here we are. I've got this little fence post here because that's where a lead was found. A lead was found right here, so figured that's probably where people tie their animals up. Probably actually off to the side there, but doesn't matter. Moving on. I've already shown you the inside of this. We've already talked about it. I did change out the shelves for some posts instead. Just looks better in my opinion. And moving on up. So this one I'm not too sure of. So what I did here, let me I completed the crisscrossing of the bricks under the floor, but yeah, what it means, I don't know. This one's a tough one. It's hard to discern. Moving on. Here is the sort of hangout area. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. Whoop, 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 whoop. Where am I going? There I go. Okay. Everything in this place is very claustrophobic, by the way, so things are very tight. I think if I were to do it again, I think these side ones here would probably be fence posts that go up. Or maybe they'd all be fence posts and it'd sort of open it up a little bit more. I also think that I'd probably replace this with these or these, because I think, see, that seems a little bit more like, yeah, see, that seems a little bit more like a gutter grate rather than this. But anyways, yeah. So this is fairly well cleaned out. Hanging up on the walls here are the armor templates and the dyes and things to sort of change the colors of stuff. Yeah, got your dirt, got your trough. So I think I'd said that this was probably some sort of animal pen with some sort of armoring deal going on here, which makes a lot of sense because if you come through here, we've got our little crafting area. Big open sort of, I don't know what you'd call this, kind of like a open garage, like a carport type thing going on here, even with the little tracks, maybe for wagons or chariots or something like that. Bring the wagon in here. I guess put your horse in here somehow. I don't know. Hanging up, of course, got the leads. The beetroot seeds, I don't think those are actually part of the archaeological record, but they were here, so they go up. Again, another post rather than a trapdoor. Armor templates hanging up. Through here, I've got the sheath pots hanging up here, the hoe hanging up there. Again, the dirt in this sort of trough type area, and it's open to the side here with this big opening too. So maybe the horses come in here and they hang out here, or some other animal, I don't know. Maybe something that eats wheat. Anyways, moving along. So I got the ladder here that goes up to the roof of the purple building. You can kind of get a cool look out over everything, but you can also go up into this building, the tower. So real quick here, you can also access the tower down through the middle here. But I think if it were me, I think this going up to the tower rather than having an entrance here is probably the better way to go, in my opinion. But yeah, so let's go up here real quick. I'll show you the top of this thing. So you go around this little spiral till you get up here, and then you got this ladder, and this ladder goes up to the top. Now this is world number 2, so this is the tower as sort of a lookout with the fire down there. Locust B is actually a structure rather than part of the tower. So yeah, you get a lot of really cool, a lot of nice vantage points out through this. Wow, is that tree always there like that? Huh. You can see the museum from here. That's kind of cool. And then just beyond, of course, is the ruins. I got the candles. I got the pot here, like I said, was probably up here and it fell and broke. So let's go down and let's head over to Locust B. What? Thank you. So Locust B has sort of a cool, I don't know what you'd call this, sort of a fire pit, or not a fire pit, but like a fireplace type thing with a back there. You can stand here and get nice and warm, I guess. Yeah, just generally speaking, just built it back up. It was pretty straightforward. I brought the ground up to the level of the floor here, just because it makes more sense that the road is flush rather than one block above ground level, but I suppose you could have it as one block above ground level. So there's that. And then of course the road continues on. I put the beams going across. Here, the blocks in this section, basically the block that I'm pointing at right here, behind these stairs, was missing on both sides on this side of the tower. So maybe they had beams going across, and the little awning continued on like this. So kind of cool, I think, at least. I'm biased though. So moving on, let's look at the stalls. You know what? I really do like that. Hold on. I replaced them to make it look like a grate. I think that looks way better. The glamour shots, of course, won't have this. But anyways, so here are the stalls. So this is the potter's stall. You come in here, you got the pots, you got the flower pots, you got dyes, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's got the roof, sort of like an awning type thing going on. Then you move down here and you've got the farmer's stall. So you got wheat, beetroot, you got some pots here that probably have something in it. I'm not really sure what, but wheat and beetroot, of course, with an awning. Now I went with the blue awning because there was a lot of blue dye and stuff like that here. So I figured that's probably the best way to go. This one is the other farmers, the sort of the agricultural stall. So I've got the seeds, I've got the tools of the trade, seeds, things like that, pots that probably have other stuff in it as well, and a random armor trim. I think that one's the, I don't know, I'm not even gonna guess. So yeah, so those are the stalls. Orange awning for this one because it had orange dye, blue for that one because it had blue dye, and then yellow for that one because it had yellow dye in it. I figured that's good enough. So yeah, so there you go. Also the stained glass hanging in front of the stalls are the panes that were found near them or on the street. So yeah, so there you go. So you got the road here. Oh, you got the weird nugget. I don't know. I don't know why that was there, but it was there. I'm really interested to see what you think of both of the worlds, and tell me which one you prefer. World 1 or World 2? Now let's get to the glamour shots.